Hey guys, so today I'm here with the Raxiom Custom Fit Wireless Charging Kit fitting all 2010 to 2018 JK Wranglers. So if you're looking for a way to modernize and update the interior or cab area of your Wrangler, a wireless charging kit like this one is going to be a really good option to take a look at. So essentially what this is going to do is eliminate all of the charging wires that are inside of your cab area, tidying it up and cleaning up the inside of your cab for convenience, while also being customizable to fit wherever you need it and very discreet, looking like it came out of the factory. So this is going to feature a non-slip mat on top, which is going to eliminate any sliding or moving around while your phone is charging. And like I said, this is going to be customizable, so you can really put this wherever is most convenient for you. So the big thing about this is that this is going to have Qi charging interface technology, which is going to be that wireless charging aspect. This is going to have a large module down at the bottom that's going to have 3 coils instead of the standard 1 coil. And it's also going to have a 15-watt output that's going to be a lot stronger and faster than some other options out there on the market. So this is going to be strong enough to reach through thick phone cases, and this is also going to charge your phone a lot faster than some other options would. This is going to be compatible with iPhone 8 and newer, as well as Android Galaxy, as well as a number of other phones that are compatible with Qi charging. And if you're not sure if your phone is compatible with Qi charging, I would contact your phone's manufacturer in order to find that out. And if your phone is not compatible with Qi charging, there are adapters out there on the market. So this is really going to be for anyone who wants to update and modernize the interior of their Jeep. So this is going to be roughly $170 and one of the only options that we have available for charging on the page. In my personal opinion, I think that this is a very solid kit. It comes with everything that you need to install it with. Not to mention, this is also going to be faster and stronger than some other options out there on the market, and perfect for really somebody who's looking for a lot of convenience and function inside their Wrangler, making this a really good option to take a look at. So install is going to be a 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter. Like I said, this is going to be pretty simple to install. Now there is some wiring included, however, again, it is going to be pretty simple, probably taking you about an hour with some basic hand tools. So speaking of the install, let's jump into that now. The tools that I used for my install were a heat gun, a pry tool, a pair of scissors, a trim removal tool, and a pair of wire cutters, strippers, and crimpers. So like I said before, there are multiple mounting locations that you can choose in order to mount this up. Now this is the older interior. I am working with a 2010, so there are very limited mounting locations. So what I'm going to do is actually mount it up to this top trim piece above our head unit. Now if you have a newer generation, there will be a tray right here, so you can custom fit it to the inside of that tray if your phone fits in there. And you also are able to utilize the center console, that top part of the center console, in order to mount this up and have a pretty discreet location. Now what I'm going to do is actually take this trim piece off so we can move to the table and custom fit this to fit on the top of here. So I'm going to take a trim piece removal tool and just work behind here. This is held in by 2 clips on the back. So I'm just going to pop this out of place. So once you can get a hand underneath there, you can just pop this up and then move it forward and unhook it. All right, so you are gonna have your compass module on here that's gonna illuminate your dash. What I'm gonna do is just unplug that. And these are actually the wires that we're gonna use a little bit later to power our wireless kit. So let's move to the table so we can mock up our wireless charging kit. So now that we have our trim piece out of our Wrangler, what we can do is grab our template. Now I cut off the edges from this, making sure that this is the exact size of our mat. Now this green square is going to be the recommended minimum size that you can trim the mat down to, and this inside square is going to be where your charging pack or your coil pack is going to lay. Now I am actually going to mount the coil pack over here, but we still want to make sure that this trim piece or this mat is sitting at the same size as our trim piece. So what I'm going to do is just cut this down just a little bit on the side here to make sure that it is completely centered on our trim piece. So I'm just going to grab a pair of scissors. This is paper, so we can trim this down so we can use that as a template to trim down our mat. Right? So that seems like it's a pretty good size, so we can move over to our mat and then trim that down. So what we can do now is lay our template over our mat, grab a razor blade or a knife, And then we can cut it along the template. All right, so now that we have our mat size, what we can do is place it on our trim piece. Everything's looking good. So there are gonna be little studs on the bottom. Now you can drill holes into your trim piece in order for it to sit flush. Now what I'm gonna do to make sure that this sits flush, since we're not actually putting it in a tray, we're putting it up on top of a trim piece, is just to cut those off, and we're gonna use some adhesion to make sure that this sits completely flat instead of using the 3M tape that was included, because that's gonna make it raise up a little bit. It would be perfect for putting it in a tray, but this is gonna be sitting on top of our dash, so we don't wanna do that. We wanna make sure that it's looking as flush as possible. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut these off with that same razor blade. Now these are going to, if you do drill holes, sit in place and make sure that the mat's not moving around on the trim piece. Now that's perfect if you want to modify, but in this case, I don't want to drill holes just in case we want to take this off. Now the other piece in this kit is for a tray if you're looking to mount it a little bit differently. This is all going to depend on how you want to mount it. So now that this is sitting completely flat and completely flush, what we can do is put adhesive on the back of this and then attach it to our trim piece, and then we can go ahead and mount up our coil on the bottom here. So now what I'm gonna do is just put a very light amount of adhesive on the back just so it sticks to our trim piece. Now you wanna make sure that you're holding it the right way, so once you have the adhesive on there, you can just plop it down on top of the trim piece. So just give it a firm press, and it should stay in place. So what we can do next is take off the backing on our 3M tape and mount this up to where we need it underneath our trim piece. Now I'm gonna mount it over on the side so we can clear our compass module as well as all of the trim pieces underneath our dash. I just wanna give a firm press for a couple of seconds, make sure that this stays in place. So if you are mounting this underneath like we are, you will need at least 5/8 of an inch in order to have good clearance for this actual coil pack. So now that that is on there, what we can do is move over to our Jeep and wire this up. So like I said before, what we're gonna do is wire our wireless charging kit into our compass module wiring harness. Now this is the best location for our mounting location, but it is gonna depend on where you mount your wireless kit. Now you are provided with a pretty long loom of wire as well as an inline fuse, so you can really wire this up to any 12-volt source that's near your wireless charging unit. So what I'm gonna do is just cut these two wires here, and then we can wire these into them. So what I'm gonna do is cut this pink wire, and we're gonna put our power here, and then there's also a black wire for the ground where we can tie our ground into. So I'm gonna take a pair of wire cutters, cut both of those. So this is connected by a clip here. What I'm gonna do is just take a trim removal tool and just pop that out so we have a little bit of slack. We can strip this side. So what I'm actually gonna do is put a piece of shrink wrap on here and then attach our butt connector. Now I'm gonna crimp down one side just to make sure that that one piece is staying in place while we get the other two wires in place. Now since we're on the pink wire, we're gonna take our positive wire from here. May have to strip a little bit of the end off so we can tie it into the other side of our pink wire. And then we can attach those two together. So what I'm going to do is just heat shrink these, as well as put another protective heat shrink on top of there, just to make sure that those wires are protected and they stay together. So I just have a heat gun here. So what I'm doing right now is taking a zip tie and cleaning up this wiring just so there's not a mess underneath this trim piece. And we can trim it. We can put our clip back into place. We can tuck this down underneath here and plug both of our connectors in, one for our compass module and then one for our charging unit. Once that's in place, what we can do is hook this forward and then press those clips in the back into place. So after your trim piece is on, you can use your charger and you're all set to go. So that's gonna wrap it up for my quick review and install. Make sure you like and subscribe, and for more videos and products like this, always keep it right here at ExtremeTerrain.com.